Today's notes are all on solving multi-step inequalities. We've solved one-step inequalities. We've solved two-step inequalities. Quick reminder, we solve inequalities exactly the same way we solve equations. We've got one more rule. That rule is if we multiply or divide both sides of the inequality by a negative number, we need to flip the inequality around the other way. Example 1, we were asked to solve. I think we've been graphing these enough that we don't need to practice graphing anymore. We are just going to solve -3 times the quantity 4 minus m is greater than 4 times the quantity 2m plus 1. -3 times the quantity 4 minus m is greater than 4 times the quantity 2m plus 1. If you recall back to solving equations, the first thing we always want to look for is to see if we can distribute anywhere. In this case, we can distribute this -3. We have a number out in front of a parenthesis. We can also distribute the 4. So we are distributing the -3. -3 times 4 is -12. -3 times -1m. Negative times negative is positive. 3 times 1m is 3m. We did multiply by a negative here, but we didn't do it on both sides of the inequality. So we are not changing our inequality around. We're just leaving it as a greater than. We need to distribute on this side as well. We have 4 times 2m. That's 8m. And we have 4 times 1 plus 4. At this point, if we have any like terms, we can combine them. Remember, like terms need to be on the same side. I've got -12 and 3m. Those are not like terms. 8m and 4 are not like terms. They don't have the same variable. There's nothing I can combine. So we need to move all of our variables over to the same side. So I've got +3m and +8m. They need to be moved to the same side of the inequality. It's usually easiest to move the smaller one. So 3m is smaller than 8m, so this is the one I'm moving. I'm going to subtract 3m from both sides. 3m minus 3m cancels, and I bring down my -12. I bring down my greater than. 8m minus 3m is 5m, and I bring down my +4. Notice we did not flip our inequality. We did not multiply or divide anything, so we do not flip. Even though this is a negative number, remember we're subtracting. We do not flip when we subtract. And now we are down to a two-step inequality. Subtract 4 from both sides. These cancel. My 5m comes down. -12 minus 4 is -16. I subtracted on both sides. I do not flip the inequality. And now we have 5 times m. We divide both sides by 5. And I know at this point in my class, a lot of times students just stop and they think they made a mistake because 16 divided by 5 doesn't come out even. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to go back and check your work. But if you haven't made a mistake at this point, if it doesn't come out even, check to see, is there anything I can divide 16 and 5 both by? There is not, other than 1. So we just leave it as -16 over 5. You don't need to type it into a calculator and write it as -3.2. Write it as an improper fraction. Reduce it if you can. We divided both sides by +5. We do not flip our inequality. -16 over 5 is greater than m. Example 2, 6x minus 15 is less than 4x plus 11. 6x minus 15 is less than 4x plus 11. I don't have anything I can distribute. There's no parentheses on either side. Check for like terms. The left side of the inequality, there are no like terms. The right side of the inequality, there are no like terms. I do have x's on both sides, so I need to move them to the same side. Again, it's generally easier to move the smaller one. I'm going to move the 4x. If you subtract 6x from both sides, you can still get the correct answer. These cancel. I bring down my 11. 6x minus 4x is 2x. I bring down my minus 15. I subtracted on both sides. We only flip the inequality if we multiply or divide both sides by a negative number. We do not flip our inequality. Add 15. I get 2x. 11 and 15 make 26. I added on both sides. We do not flip our inequality. Divide both sides by 2. 26 divided by 2 is 13. I divided both sides by a positive number. I do not flip my inequality. X is less than 13. Example 3 says 2 times the quantity t plus 2 minus 3t is greater than or equal to negative 1. 2 times quantity t plus 2 minus 3t is greater than or equal to negative 1. I do have a number in front of a parenthesis. We should distribute 2 times t, 2 times 2. The minus 3t is not inside of the parentheses, so I do not distribute to that. We just leave the minus 3t. I didn't do anything to both sides, so we leave our inequality. This time we do have like terms. They're right here, 2t minus 3t. I can combine those. They're on the same side of the inequality, so we're not doing like plus 3t plus 3t because those are both on the same side. If they're on the same side, we just combine them up. 2t minus 3t is negative 1t. Plus 4 just comes down. I didn't do anything that would require me to flip my inequality. Subtract 4 from both sides. I've got negative 1t. I subtracted on both sides. I did not multiply or divide both sides by a negative. We do not flip our inequality. Negative 1 minus 4 does give me negative 5. And divide both sides by negative 1. Negative divided by negative is positive. I divided both sides by a negative number. That's when we flip our inequality around. T is less than or equal to 5. Example 4 gives us a sentence, and we are asked to write and then solve an inequality for that sentence. Write and solve an inequality for the following statement. And part A says 6 minus the sum of r and 3 is less than 15. 6 minus the sum of r and 3 is less than 15. So 6 minus. We want to subtract the sum of r and 3. So the sum means to add. I want to subtract the entire sum of r and 3. So I want to take 6, and I want to subtract the sum of r and 3. There's the sum of r and 3. I want to subtract the whole thing, so I put it in parentheses. Is less than 15. I know sometimes we struggle to remember which one's less than and which one's greater than. If we just think about it, it says this thing is less than 15. 15 needs to be bigger. So remember, the alligator eats the bigger thing, so this is opening up around the 15. So there's our statement written as an inequality. 6 minus, we've got r plus 3 in parentheses, is less than 15. It does ask us to solve. We wrote, to solve, we are distributing here. This is a -1. So distribute your -1. I've got -1 times r, -1 times 3. 6 just stays out front. My sign stays the same. I do have like terms on the left side. 6 minus 3, I can combine those. So I've got -1r. 6 minus 3 is +3. Subtract 3 from both sides. (15 minus 3 makes 12). And divide both sides by -1. Notice we did divide both sides by a negative. When we divide both sides by a negative, we have to flip our inequality. Part B says 1/2 the difference of t and 6 is less than or equal to 4. So 1/2, I need to take half. The difference of t and 6. So again, like I did on the last one, I want to start with the difference of t and 6 and take 1/2 of that whole thing. Difference means subtract. The difference of t and 6, subtraction, the order matters here. It stays in the same order. The difference of t and 6 would be t minus 6 is less than or equal to 4. Less than or equal to 4. Distribute 1/2 times t. 1/2 times -6. Add 3 to both sides. Gives me 1/2 t is less than or equal to 7. And here we have 1/2 t. We want to divide both sides by 1/2. Remember, dividing by a fraction. I think it's usually easier to multiply by the reciprocal. We are going to multiply times 2 over 1. Notice 2 divided by 2 cancels, 1 divided by 1 cancels. I just get t, that's what I wanted. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 1 is 1. 14 divided by 1 is 14. I multiply both sides by a positive number. I do not flip my inequality. That is all we are doing for today's notes. Have a good day.